Good afternoon and welcome back to the iGPFun League here, brought to you by JPBroadcasting. We are here at the NurburgRing Grand Prix with no chicane. It is a fantastically historical circuit, and today we are about to bring you a very exciting race here today. It is 16 corners around this track, and it is just such a fun track. Lots of good overtaking opportunities. And I think we're going to have an absolute blast here tonight. My name is Patrick Coleman, and I am one of your hosts and commentators for today. And alongside me is Dean Hopton. How are you tonight, good sir?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. It's got Sean there, but it's Patrick in the booth here tonight. First time, my friend here for the iGPFun Racing League here for the Super Formula Lights. And we are round 8, of course, there at Nuremberg here in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun track, and I'm sure these drivers are going to have a lot of fun. Very historic circuit. It's been used in all sorts of different racing championships. Speaking of championships, here are the championship standings right now. Antonio Jimenez, I might mispronounce these names, I do apologize, from Drivec Esports 2. He has 296 points, a very good, healthy lead in this championship ahead of Dennis Cornu from Unity Racing with 251. But, I mean, this batch from P2 all the way to P4 are within a point of each other. So, I mean, there's a lot of championship points that could go around here today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And we have 29 laps around this track. And I think this is, I mean, it's all to play for here in the championship. Still pretty, I mean, we're not in the early stages of this championship, but we're not too far from the end either. So still a lot of racing left to go.
It doesn't look like it at the moment, but we were going over in the green room, having a look out the window of that weather conditions as well, too. So there is a possibility there could be a bit of rain coming.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, some drivers absolutely thrive in the rain. Others prefer not to rain. So we'll just have to see which driver can adapt to these changing weather conditions quickly enough. And it's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. Hopefully you guys go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new here. We are still in qualifying. Not much long left to go in this qualifying session. A little under 2 minutes left to go. It is a 30-minute qualifying session here. It is 19.41 degrees Celsius out on track here today. Cloudy weather. And like Dean said, a good chance of rain here. As we are down, we have about a minute and a half left of qualifying. Right now, Jesper Sandstrom is currently on pole position at the moment, but we all know that could change at the drop of a hat. So we'll just have to see how this is going to play out. He has a 144.356 here at the moment, only 900ths away from Thomas Region in second place. So it's going to be a lot of fun here today.
About to finish another flying lap there, see if we can improve or not there for the Scandinavian driver. He still has the 90,000 second of a gap there. Yeah, I said don't bring drops into play, my friend, when you said that. Maybe too soon. I'm just going to quickly show this weather, and as you can see here, if you get a little bit further into this one, overcast and that percentage of rain increasing, 18%. See that rain band there forming in on the radar loop? That very much might hit the track, but for how long will be the key as well.
Yeah, because there's going to be a definite crossover point if you want to run the wet weather tires or the equivalent of intermediates or not, because sometimes you get just a little splash of rain and it's really just not worth even making the pit stop in some cases if you are confident enough in your driving to navigate. And I mean, if it only hits for about a second, it's going to dry up pretty quickly, but I mean, strategy is about half the battle, so we'll just have to see. And it is about the last 8 seconds left of qualifying here before we get started with round 8 here at the NurburgRing GP, and it is still Jesper Sandstrom on top, followed by Thomas Region and Tony Jimenez, followed by Jakob Owensky and Dennis Cornu, currently leading our top 5. But still a pretty competitive grid here. We do have right around 30 drivers, 31 drivers to be exact. And I mean, the top 17 are separated by less than a second, so it's pretty competitive here. And the top 4 separated by less than 0.2 of a second. So I think if the race is as close as qualifying is here, then it is going to be pure cinema as we go around the NurburgRing for 29 laps. I should specify the GP layout. We are not doing the full Nordschleife because,
Yeah.
oh boy, these drivers would be
Ooh.
super sore after today's done.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure how many corners there's, 166 or something like that corners, because this one is a lot less than that. And to let everybody know that are tuning in, there will be no overtaking until what do we dictate, about turn 7 or something like that? I think it will be.
Yeah, turn 7.
Turn 7, yeah. So everybody will have
Yeah,
to
so
kind
that'll
of
be
stay
interesting.
in place, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes those lap 1 overtakes are the overtakes that either go really good or really bad. So I mean, it's a good rule that the league has implemented to basically allow us to make sure we can get through lap 1 without too much turmoil.
So Tony won't improve at the moment, so he'll remain in that second row there, be lining up alongside with Jacob as the times tick down there for our qualifying session. Festi didn't get a time on the board. I don't know if he's quite in the session here. So whether or not the French driver can line up for the grid, at least it'll have a bit of work to do. He's going to get past 30 odd cars in a short period of time. But perhaps with that weather that is looming over, that could be a bit of an upset for some of these drivers. And if they can get their strategy right there, could be a way to shoot your way from the outhouse to the penthouse too, mate.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at it. I mean, it is not impossible to go from last to first, especially with this amount of cars, but it is not going to be an easy mountain to climb. It is basically like wearing jeans and a t-shirt trying to climb Mount Everest. So he's, like you said, he's definitely got his work cut out for him. But right now, Adam Talmza is currently the last driver on a flyer. We'll see if he can improve his time. Although it says he's on LF, so he won't be able to improve as we're about to get underway with our race here.
Exactly. So we'll get our grid fully lined up officially once this session closes, and we will have our grid for this evening.
Yeah, that sky darkened quite considerably. So taking a look at our starting grid, it is Jesper Sandstrom taking pole position there, the Scandinavian driver leading from Thomas region, and then we have Tony Jimenez, Jakob Oletsky, Dennis Cornu, Ludovic Rancon, Andy Flint, Alexis Declerc, Robert Ridgway, Oscar Belcati, Jonas Amal, and then Brad Folgar. And then taking a look at our next set of cars, we currently have, taking a look from P13, it is Bahadan Ayan, Stefan Dotterer, Max Invictus, Koji Ito, Mehmet Emre Taski, Patrick Williams, Eddie Amos, Andre Wazowski, John McKenzie, and then we also have Adam Talmza, Scott Taylor, Adrian Pascari. And then taking a look at the last bit of our grade, we have John McKenzie. Oh, sorry, that is the same one. And then we have Leonardo Ocheri, Oscar Artanano, Francois Bandet, Patrick Rowlands, Allard Van D, Paul Destelli, and then Simon Fezzi, who was unable to set a lap time. He'll start from the back of the grid. Any predictions here, Dean, as we're about to get underway?
I don't know. Going to be pretty close at the front there. I wouldn't like to place a bet on what's going to happen on this race, especially with those changeable conditions coming into play as well. But good job there. Welcome to the league there, Patrick, and getting through those interesting names that we have. Very multi-country, obviously world league there with drivers from all over. And of course, you're talking about some of the best drivers on the planet here in the Super Formula Lights.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. Glad I got the opportunity, and I'm gonna have fun here because it's gonna be interesting. Because, like you said, that's the thing I love about sim racing is that, because you think about a lot of like esports race or esports in general, that they're usually region locked, but we're about to those 5 red lights coming on, and we're about to get green here, and it's lights out, and away we go. We're gonna go ahead and kick off lap 1 out of 30 here in this race here today. Sandstrom doing good right now, and we already have a DNF. There's already a car that is out of this race. Actually, it looks like maybe 2 cars might be out of this race. Just taking a look at the timing table, it looks like Koji Ito is out of this race, and a lot of drama in the opening stages of this race.
Yeah, Koji couldn't get off the line. I don't believe he got into the session in time there, unfortunately, so he had to drop all the way down to the bottom. That'll place a couple other drivers up. But did you see that little run there from Thomas trying to to take it to Jasper in the first couple of turns, but then he had to give lift off and give that position back because according to the rules, of course, can't get the overtakes done till around here now. Now you can get on the loud pedal and get those overtakes done.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tempting sometimes to make those overtakes because there are some good overtaking spots in those first 7 corners, but I mean, you have 30 cars trying to make that corner in the first lap. It's just going to be chaos. So good job on the league for implementing at least an attempt, as we see Jacob Oleski trying to go ahead and get past Jimenez there. We'll see if he can get the move done. He's going to try to hook it around the inside. Tony, though, is keeping that position, but we'll just have to see how it's all going to play out because this is going to be a very spicy race.
Yeah, big squabble behind him as well, too, which is the reason why he needs to get a move on because he's got Den, he's got Rancon, and further back in the field, you got the battle of the Americans there from Andy Flint and Robert Ridgway in your neck of the woods, my friend, running in 7th and 8th. We had a couple of little incidents on lap 1. It looks like Devan has here, the Dutch driver, the 666 machine, might have had a little bit of a off-track moment. He's just got on the loud pedal out of the corner in the cold tires, and there's a collision between himself, and I think that could have been Francis as well, too, as those first lap shenanigans occurred.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but sometimes if you get a little too overeager, yeah, there's another good shot of it. Wow, that's a lot of chaos and just getting bounced around. Yikes. That is a very unfortunate start to a race for those drivers. I mean, you really feel for them.
Change for lead. Rain's coming.
Oh, no, here's the rain.
Wow.
Yeah, the rain has already hit the track. I was expecting like lap 5 or so before we got the rain, but we'll see how these drivers navigate these tricky conditions. The one thing that you will learn very quickly if you are new to sim racing is that slicks and wet conditions do not play nice at all. So we'll have to see how these drivers can manage, and it's going to be... I'm just curious if any of these drivers are going to pit in early because, I mean, there's no real promise of how long this rain is going to last. And, I mean, from that view we had earlier, just a bit of a blip, and there's Jesper getting popped around.
Yeah, he got hit by Thomas.
Taken out. Yeah, so that's going to be up to the steward's discretion. He is now down to 11, and there's another view of that bop onto the Scandinavian driver. That's just unfortunate there for Sandstrom there. He had a good start, had a good getaway, but just unfortunately just got a light tap, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, it's the light rain is coming down here at the moment. No puddles or anything like that forming. Remember, iRacing implemented that fantastic. Took them a long time to get it done, but when they did get it done, the weather model's been fantastic. You can be raining on one part of the track and dry on another. You can get puddles forming in there, which you certainly don't want to be getting these dry tyres grooving into. You don't even barely want to get wet weather tyres into that, but it's a situation. Does anybody go down pit road? Not yet. It's still too light. As you can see, I'm trying to break the slipstream down, start another lap.
Yeah, I think those cars that were in the pits are just... Ooh.
Now, that's interesting.
That was a bad one.
Did somebody come out? I saw that. Did somebody come out of pit lane and cross the line? As it was
I think
going
so,
three wide down the main straightaway. Here we go. So this is coming out of pit road. Look at this in the background. Bang. No, he was doing the right thing. He was staying off the racing line at that point. He was just still inside the exit of the pit lane box, and that caused that massive crash. So interesting, my friend. Very, very interesting early days on that one. I'm just going to see if we can get a little bit better camera angle on what happened here. This is when it went all pearl-shaped. Bang. Now, you'd have to say, for that driver, and does he take out Robert? No.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, it just slaps Robert onto that one. Well, we can't spend too much time wrapping ourselves around replays because there's a lot of live action capture here at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is only lap. We're still in the early stages of this race. We're only about 4 minutes into this race.
Yeah, it's actually just started raining outside where I am as well too. So, how ironic that the rain's starting to come down here in Germany, and as you can see, the spray's starting to kick up on the back of these cars now, so it's going to get a little bit tricky. Don't tell these drivers to slow down. They're feeling pretty comfortable at the moment. But if we are expecting this, kind of what we saw on that radar, I don't really want to pull it up because it's not really that nice to show with the graphics, but it should only be a little band of rain. So I think these drivers are going to be bold and brave and stick it out there until it goes dry again.
Yeah, that's probably the likely course of action.
Yep, might have just lost Patrick there for a second. As the battle is still brewing around the final podium position. Tony Jimenez there. Den is all over the back of him, and Racon is a little bit further back. But we'll see whether or not Dennis can do anything about our championship leader at the moment, just banging up the road. Currently in P3 where he started the race.
All right, let's see if that's anything. How to switch connections real quick.
Yep, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's only, like I was saying earlier, it's only lap 4 out of 30, and these drivers are really going to push and just put pedal to the metal now as they're going to try and jockey for position and try to maneuver these very tricky conditions as we are currently on board with the battle for third place at the moment now. I mean, that's a perfect camera to see that for a little bit, but yeah, so I mean, you're going to have a lot less grip, and you're just not going to have the same kind of response as you normally would in the regular dry conditions. So, I mean, like I said earlier, some drivers absolutely thrive in the rain and others not so much.
Could be an overtaking opportunity here, side-by-side teammates. The French duo down into turn 1. Number 1, don't take your teammates out. But there could be some play here to say, well, let's get the Spaniard up the road there. That's what they're trying to do. Racon and Den, he does get Den, so he will switch that position up there. Now it's up to Racon to see if he can do anything about Tony Jimenez at the moment. And whilst they're doing all this battling, it is allowing Thomas up the road to get a little bit of a distance, as well as Jacob Pulaski.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, those front two are really starting to run away with this one. We'll see if they can keep it up. I mean, once again, this rain, it's not really getting any heavier, but it's not lighting up at all. So we'll just have to keep an eye on everything and just make sure that it's all going according to plan. I mean, right now it's perfect for the Frenchman and the Polish driver currently leading this race 1 and 2. But I got a feeling that the two Unity Racing drivers are going to work together and try to catch up to Tony Jimenez there currently in P3.
They have done that before all season long. The problem is they've also held each other up. And this man having a battle all the way back, isn't it, Jasper? After putting it on pole and getting a little bit of it, getting knocked from the back there from Thomas. He's got to fight his way back up the field. I like that spirit there. Realises that there is still plenty of time. He's still inside that top 10. And you don't just pull the car off there and retire it and say it's game over. It's not at all, especially when you're halfway through a championship as well, too, when you need all those points.
Yeah, every point is going to matter here, especially as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. So, yeah, I mean, you pretty much want to fight tooth and nail for every single possible point you can get, as Tony Jimenez is under pressure from Racon there. We'll see if Racon can go ahead and try to get it done. He's going to have the inside line, but just not enough real estate to get that move done. He still sits in P4 at the moment, but Ludovic Racon is going to try his hardest to at least at minimum close the gap and make sure that gap doesn't get any bigger as we go ahead and start lap 6 out of 30 here. We're already about a fifth of the way through this race, and time flies when you're having fun. And I mean, I'm sure these drivers are having a bit fun, but I mean, I'm not sure if it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but it does look like this rain is lining up ever so slightly, but it is still coming down.
It is, actually. It is, and that's the reason why I think the gamble that nobody... Actually, my apologies, we did have a couple of drivers that have gone down to pit road. Actually, going out to O'Cherry here. He's elected to put the wet weather tyres on. So is Kuchi as well, too, for the Japanese driver. They did, but they were kind of running at the back anyway, so they didn't have too much to lose. Simon Fessy jumped in there at pit road and got those wet weather tyres. But this might be with a point where it's going to bite them back, because it's clearly perhaps not wet enough, or if it doesn't increase to rain more, they're going to have to jump back down there and switch those tyres back.
Yeah, so I mean, that's always the gamble, right? I mean, strategy is 50% of the race. The other 50 is raw pace. And sometimes, I mean, we know that the wet tires do like to burn up very quickly compared to the slicks, especially if it is on dry conditions. But, I mean, you can still use puddles to kind of cool off the tires, but at this stage, there really isn't any puddles. There's a little bit of a spray coming off the back of Tony's car just ahead of Ludovic. And we'll see if he can catch up. He's got a good slipstream, but does he have enough power in that Super Formula Light car to really make a move? No, he thinks better of it. He's going to try to
slingshot, yes.
He did try to make a slingshot, but unfortunately that slingshot did not have enough power to go ahead and put him into that podium spot. But as these two keep battling it out, as we see Ragon, oh, he's going to send it up the inside. That's a beautiful move there from the Frenchman. He is up in the P3.
Yeah, now all of a sudden Tony might be under massive attack there from Dennis. He will. So that's interesting as the camera goes behind the grandstand there, that circular grandstand, almost 360 grandstand here at Nuremberg. Yeah, tiny little mistake there from Tony, and now puts him in the clutches of the other French driver, the number 22 machine. So just like that. And I thought about those switcherooing, you know, going deep into the corner and trying to cut back through on the inside. That can work on a dry track, but you've got to be very careful if you're doing that on a greasy, wet surface as well, too, especially going off the racing line. You might not find that much traction down there. But that wasn't the problem, obviously. It was a problem when Tony actually just took the wrong entrance into the corner and had a tiny, looked like a tiny little lock up there. But now he's got to have to defend number 22 attacking.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors that goes into just how strong the move is. And speaking of moves, Dennis is going to try to hook it up the inside. He gets Tony as well. The two French drivers are now in P3 and P4, and it's almost an all-French podium at the moment in this race. We're on lap 7 out of 30, and it's going to be a close one. Oh, wow. Contact?
No, it's Jasper making a move on Andy Flint there. He's gained a couple of positions. He's absolutely flying out there. He's back up at a P6. He's not too far from that battle you can see on your pictures right now. He's going to have to go defensively here because he's got two drivers in the slipstream. We're going to have 3 wide action, perhaps down to turn 1. And he just makes it stick. Thankfully, he wanted to clear those two drivers because he wants to catch the rest of the field there. Certainly, he wants to go back there and regain that little battle that he had with the Frenchman up the front in the lead of this race.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff there from Jesper. Making every... Ooh, we'll see if this is going to stick. If Dennis can go ahead and reclaim that position in P4. No, not quite. He is still just hung out to dry around the outside. And Tony Jimenez is going to keep that P4 position. Now we're going to be on board with Jesper Sandstrom here. The number 29 car from Scandinavia, getting a good view of the battle up ahead.
Jesper's quick here. And he's quick in these conditions, even better than the other drivers. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get a 2 for here, a 2 for 1 special with these two battling it out, because it's just bringing him into place so quickly at the moment. He's realizing this essentially P4 up for grabs here on lap 8 when he was running all the way back in the field after dropping those places earlier. He is fighting his way back through this. Then again, Scandinavians probably love these racing conditions, my friend.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is on fire right now. He's definitely got a Viking spirit right now as he's shaping up for a move onto Tony, but Tony is going to go ahead and get that inside line going into turn number 14. I'm sorry, that is turn 14 and 15. Now going through the Hyundai N curve. He's going to try to get it. He's going to put pedal to the metal. He does get it. Yes, he's got it, but it's going to be a drag race down into turn number 1. But I will say that Tony does have a good amount of slipstream, which Jesper does not. So Jesper Sandstrom is going to try to go deep on the brakes, trying to hook it up the inside. He's got it. That is a fantastic move.
And so did Alex, maybe, around the outside. Tony will still have the inside line there, but he's got to force the lift off to get back onto the racing line, and there it is just like that. The Spaniard, the championship leader, has dropped back to P7, 4 positions lost in the space of just a couple of laps.
Fantastic pass there from both Jesper and Alexis. Immaculate. I wasn't expecting that to work, to be honest. But hey, I'm so glad it did. Let's get that again. Oh, this is actually Scott Taylor from the Ridgeway Racing.
I think he's locked up down into the hard braking zone. No, he's got absolutely slammed from behind there. Looks like maybe I've been Oscar. My apologies. There it is. So Oscar's quite far back here. And he goes to hit the anchors. And I think he wanted to hit the anchors a little bit too late. Bang. And I'm sure...
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
There'll be a few curse words coming out at the moment in the cockpit of Scott Taylor's car.
Probably in Spanish. Probably words that I can't even
Jesper's looking at P4 there, so he's got past Tony, who's having the battle desperately at the moment of Oscar behind him. So he is definitely in a French sandwich right now of cars, because the French drivers are absolutely loving these conditions as Oscar. If he can get past the Spaniard, he's going to get right up there with Alex. There's Dendes, there's Denden, of course, there's Rincon, and the race leader at the moment just got faster than everybody else. As you can see, it looks like the rain has stopped.
Yeah, the rain has stopped, and I think the sun might be starting to peak out of it, so this track is going to start drying off. So the gamble going onto the wets was not the call. Staying out was definitely the call. We'll see how the rest of this is going to play out. But, I mean, Jesper, man, is on fire at the moment. He is, like you said, he was down in P11, P12 earlier on, and now he is up into P4 at the moment. And, I mean, he might be even in a position to eventually go after Ludovic Racan later on. So we'll see if he can go ahead and try to catch up to the other Frenchman. He passed 2 of them. Now he's got to try to get past the 3rd and 4th one if he wants to get a win here.
Yeah, I want to see his gap currently at the moment is only 9 seconds away from the race leader with 20 laps at hand. So he's certainly very capable of hunting down the race leader, as I said. Maybe he wants that little bit of revenge, isn't it, from they came in contact earlier in this race that forced him down, and he's like, all right, let's go. I want to ding round 2 of that one.
Yeah, he pretty much wants to get his get back, as the kids nowadays say it. But yeah, I mean, Jesper's having a fantastic race, but we're seeing a lot of good battles here. The other Oscar of Oscar Belcati is now trying to chase up to Tony Jimenez here, seeing if he can try to shake it up around the outside. The outside on this corner becomes the inside on the next one. He'll have to do some late braking if he wants to get his move done, and decides that there's a better overtaking chance. He actually closed up that gap really close now. It is only a few tenths of a second, not even. Now he gets the move done onto Tony, and Tony is having a dreadful race so far.
Yeah, he has, hasn't it? As soon as that rain kind of kicked in a little bit, he struggled. Whoa, last of a move, but that's perfectly legal. Looked like Tony. Oh, we have a spinner, and that is Jesper.
Jesper's out.
Second time around, same corner.
Oh, we need a replay on that.
He's got to be lost it on his own. He's gone too deep into the corner. He's had a spin for sure because there's nobody else around. He's come in too hot. And there he is, and then bang, we saw from that battle before, and that's a retirement back in the pit road. I wonder if he's still going to like to come back out again and how much damage is on that car, because I wouldn't say it's completely over just yet, getting back in to get the top 10, considering how quick he's been, but that's very, very unfortunate for him. I know he'd be frustrated with that one, but that was a solo accident this time around. He didn't get clobbered by anybody else, but it could be all she wrote.
Yeah, unfortunate there for the Scandinavian driver. I mean, just sometimes those curbs might still be a tad wet because those things are very slick compared to the rest track. And here's Leonardo Cherry now, just once again also losing it on his own. I think he got a little bit too much of the curb there on the exit of the Hyundai curve.
Can you believe it?
Oh yeah, those wet tires are cooked.
Yeah, they're
more cooked than a grilled salmon at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, El Francais 1, 3, 4, and 5 currently at the moment. It's Alaski that's the only driver not from France inside that top 5 that's just battling in that P2 position there all by himself currently at the moment. But this is kind of where the action has been this race, hovering around that 4th, 5th, 6th spot.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of battles here just going on in those positions, like you said. But, I mean, right now, Region and Ozuski, sorry if I mispronounced that. I'll get the hang of the names eventually, but yeah, I mean, right now they're both in the optimal position, really, and also Cornu as well. They're all just in a perfect spot where they can just kind of chill and just kind of cruise, because there's no one directly in front of them to really push after, and there's no one directly behind them to put pressure on. So the 3 Frenchies and the Polish driver are all in really good spots, but they have to keep it consistent. Because, I mean, granted, pace is strong, but consistency is what wins races. And overall, that's what ends up winning you the championship as well.
Absolutely.
As Adrian Pascari is going to send one up the inside. He's going to get the move done onto Tomza. So that is a very nice move there.
Yep, Tasky lurking in the background as well, too, that wants to join this party. As well as Gonez there, I think, is joined this party. He says, hello, nice broadcasting. Greetings from America, Florida. Well, we got another Floridian, and he's in the booth at the moment. That's
another
Patrick
Floridian.
in the booth. Yeah, there you go.
Good to see a fellow Florida man. I can tell that Flint is not a Florida man because he would be like 20 trillion seconds ahead because of how consistently and how crazy the rain does get here in Florida. Actually had a pretty gnarly rainstorm here earlier on that actually knocked out some Wi-Fi for a bit.
It's usually about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I was living in Central America as well too. It's you always have those afternoon crazy thunderstorms, isn't it, where it just buckets down for a bit and then it's clear.
Yep, pretty much. That's exactly what happened here.
Yep. That's,
and actually, come to think of it, that's kind of what happened here at the NurburgRing as well. It's like it rained for a little bit, then just kind of brined up a bit, as we see in
light
Victus.
Rain is more of that European weather, isn't it? It's not like it's going to get with the huge thunderstorms that you get in the likes of Florida and the Caribbean.
I mean, you basically get a hurricane and then it's just sunshine like 2 minutes later. So that's Florida for you.
Whoa! Just trying to avoid a backmarker at the moment. He luckily got off the corner in time. As you can see, Maxi fighting his way back up 5 positions through the field here. We'll go back up to the Battle of the Frenchmen. Again, the teammates, they were at this tooth and nail so far. They're back at it tooth and nail. You got to remember this fighting they're doing. You've got to say, like, do the switcheroo if you feel like you're a bit quicker. Kind of like that Ferrari strategy, wasn't it, there with Leclerc and Hamilton recently, where they're both kind of quicker than each other when they're chasing, but as soon as they get into that clear air, they just bunched up again. And what's bunching them up, of course, is back into the clutches there of our championship leader, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm glad I'm not a Ferrari fan for that race because that would have been stressful. Especially if you're a fan of either Leclerc or Hamilton. That was a very stressful race to watch if you're a Ferrari fan. But Tony is going to have no stress at all trying to make the move onto De Leclerc, and that is P4 once again for the Spaniard. Trying to make up from some of the positions from his not-so-great start here, as we're almost already halfway through this Grand Prix here at the NurburgRing GP. And so far, I mean, we've had a good amount of battles, lots of very good overtakes, but also our fair share of drama here. As we are on lap 14 out of 30, we're close to that halfway mark. Not quite there, but we're about halfway there.
Bringing Andy Flint into play at the moment too, just behind them. So there's your driver from the USA, and Brad just a little bit further down behind them. So, but that's probably the example what happened with the Unity Racing team not driving in Unity as one, fighting each other tooth and nail, and that allows Tony to take that opportunity. But now Den's kind of trying to get that gap to him, and there's a huge gap up the road there to Alowski in P2. So we'll see how that pans out for the drivers. But exactly, like, you know, fighting each other too much just costs you some time and can potentially sometimes cost you some places.
Yeah, because, I mean, sometimes if you fight too much, you could run into someone. Somebody could have a bit of a connectivity blip and just collide with you unintentionally. I mean, unfortunately, this platform is, well, actually, this isn't even a iRacing specific issue. Sim racing in general is known for its connection issues sometimes, especially when you have so many talented drivers pushing to the maximum limit from all across the globe. It's the thing I love about sim racing is that you always have drivers from all across the globe. With that being said, the connections don't always tend to agree, as Tony is still defending aggressively against Leclerc there. So this is a battle for P4 on track. Alexis Leclerc and Tony Jimenez. The SRP racing team versus the driver that's not on a team. It's going to be a good slipstream there for Alexis. Can he get the move done? Not quite. Oh, he might get him on the switchback. Oh, just not quite enough real estate, but that move looked promising there for a bit, but just not enough real estate to make that happen.
Yeah, wise old Fox there. You're not leading a championship for nothing. You're leading a championship because you're consistently a quick driver, and you also know how to defend just as importantly as you know how to overtake drivers, and that's the key to a potential champion this season as well too in the making. Of course, it's still early days. Well, we're about halfway through the championship at this point, and I'll just quickly show you that calendar up on your screen there, as you can see. as we pass Phillip Island, essentially the halfway point. But now we're heading over to those couple of European tracks that we're here in Germany. We're going to head over to France, and we're going to go to UK, the birthplace practically of motorsport. And then down under, mate, with Bathurst. It's always going to be an interesting one. Spa, the temple of other speed, really, the temple of Belgium speed, and Formula giving June 15th.
Yeah, so it's a pretty stacked calendar ahead. I mean, all those tracks are certified bangers, although Maggie Cours is the track I have the least amount of experience with. But all those other tracks are extremely fun, and I mean, so far the racing here has been super duper competitive today. And I think if those races are anything like today, then I think all those races are going to be certified bangers. So be sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the intense racing here. As we see, speaking of intense, there is a three-way battle right now for 4th place. And these drivers have a first-class ticket to the slipstream train. We'll see if DeClaire can go for it. Alexis is going to go ahead and move up. Tony went wide there, so he's going to lose 2 positions again. One to Andy Flint and the other to Alexis DeClaire. But Andy doesn't quite have that position yet. Tony does have that inside line. He's going to keep it now. They get so close, but then Andy's going to have the inside again. But that is bringing Bofagar into the mix as well. Yeah, Brad is having he's got a front row seat to this action.
Oh! Well, he does now.
And
he's got a front row seat into facing the wrong direction. Luckily, just lets it roll back up there. Don't get caught there. Ooh, that's right. Keep the momentum. Remember, they're pretty low there, and you just clearly saw what happened there. I thought Brad had a bird's eye view into potentially what could have been an overtake, but didn't quite do it.
Oh, he just did himself.
No, he got.
Once again, another. Well, let's see. Yeah, maybe I missed it. Let's see. They're going into the corner.
There. It was the check.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep. Bit of contact with that front left part of the wing.
So lucky.
On that Super Formula car, and yep, that's... I mean, good on him, though, for waiting and not causing another incident from rejoining too early, because I've seen that way too many times to count, as we're officially in the second half of this race. But, I mean, so far, there's a lot of good battles happening up and down this field. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the action as much as we are. Because, I mean, can't really think of many other places we'd like to be than commentating this fantastic race here in Germany.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah, it's a little frustrating that you saw there from Brad, but at the same time, he did the right thing. He let the car roll backwards, so he wasn't on the racing line. Didn't want to destroy somebody else's race, even though we'll dropped a couple of places down back in P11 at the moment. As we're still seeing a fantastic battle there brewing with Tony. Now, see, Tony's been overtaken a couple of times, dropped a couple of places, but he fights his way back up through it, doesn't he? I mean, he's only essentially down 2 positions from where he started the race. Now he's got to keep Andy Flint at bay. Raccoon is down into that P8 position that they were battling with before, so I'm not quite sure if we missed what happened there as to why he dropped, but probably in that little collision that we saw just before, actually.
Yeah, maybe just in trying to take avoiding action, maybe went off into the grass a bit. These cars don't exactly like grass a lot. I mean, granted, touching grass in the real world is a fantastic thing, but in these cars, it is highly
he went off track.
Not ideal.
Yeah. That was the contact, wasn't it? No, it just said it was an off. Yeah, that was the avoiding things before, but.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to avoid the back marker.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see exactly what it was, but he's currently running in P8. We haven't really shown too much of our race leaders, and that's always, I have to say, it's a good day for you as a racing driver if we really don't put the camera at you too much, because you're just getting everything done, isn't it? Up the lead there, comfortable 5-second gap there, have to navigate away a bit of traffic at the moment, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. Traffic in this league, they do the right thing, they get out of the way as quickly as they can. There's Jacob, just see him on it. He can still just see Thomas, but not when he disappears in the corners. And as a racing driver, when you're trying to hunt somebody down, what you do like to see is see the driver there, so you can also see what mistakes that they're making and how you can perhaps capitalize on it.
Yeah, because I always liken it to like when you watch those older cartoons and you see when a bull sees like a red flag or something red, they just lock in on it and they chase it full speed. And that's exactly the kind of feeling that you get when there's a car directly in front of you that you can just see. And we are seeing a very fantastic battle between Andy Flint and Tony Jimenez here. And he's going to go ahead and get the inside line. He's got the more advantageous line, but Jimenez does have the slipstream. Is he going to go ahead and shake for the move? The number 77 car thinks about it, but decides better against it.
And now we have another player that's joined this party as well, too. And we see what happens when you join that party with these two drivers racing at the moment. You just have to talk to Brad about that one. And, of course, Stefan should be well aware of that situation here for the Dutchman and go, well, you know, got to be very cautious approaching these two. There could be a chance that I can involve myself into a little bit of an off-track excursion. See how it pans out. But then again, always as a racing driver, if there is a gap, you take that opportunity to get overtaken opportunity, perhaps on both.
Yeah, but another thing about that statement is that it is a statement that is used a lot, and it is a good statement, but a really good racing driver can identify with a very high accuracy when the gaps actually exist. Sometimes when you have more rookie drivers, they see a gap, but it's not really a gap that really exists, and so that's how we get a fair amount of rookie incidents, or even sometimes if you've been in the online lobby, some players will have that in their bio and then just do the most egregious dive bomb known to man. But definitely not speaking from experience there. But all things aside, yeah, I mean, a lot of good restraint from these drivers, not making the most obscure dive bombs possible, but they're still fighting really hard and providing us a lot of good cinema, like what we're seeing here between Tony Jimenez and Stefan Doderer. I mean, this is a battle for P6 at the moment, but Ludonic Rakan is right behind them, though, so it could be, I mean, this could be a very fun fight in about a lap's time.
Yeah, he's caught back up to the field, isn't he? So a recovery drive for the French driver. He's only down 2. I'd like to see when himself and Tony get back into wheel-to-wheel action between them, for sure. And I don't think he won't be too far away from that. 12 laps to go currently at the moment in our race. And look at that, almost takes the nose off in the corner. But that's why these drivers are some of the best in the world. They know exactly how much of distance there is around the car there and use that awareness, race awareness, to the best of their ability.
Indeed, yeah. And I know we haven't shown him a whole lot, but I'm taking a look now, and Paul Destelli is currently the best mover so far out of this field. He is up 11 positions from where he started, although he is still currently in 19th. But, I mean, still, moving up 11 positions is still pretty impressive. Now, granted, there's been quite a good amount of contact, but, I mean, to also quote famous racing drivers, to finish first you must finish. And, I mean, so far, I mean, you moved up 11 positions for a reason. You were able to stay out of the contact that messed up so many drivers ahead of time. We actually have quite a few retirements here. Koji Ito, Robert Ridgway, Leonardo O'Sherry, Jesper Sandstrom, Oscar Belcati, Simon Fessy, Yunus Amal, and Francois Bendet have all been knocked out of this race. We are down to 23 drivers. But I think these 23 drivers can still put on a mighty fine show here, as we're seeing a mighty fine effort from Ludovic Rakan here, trying to make more positions. He's also been quite a pretty solid mover himself, although unfortunately he's moved backwards instead of forwards. The car ahead, though, Stefan Doderer, is up 7 positions, so it's been a pretty solid race for the Dutchman.
Ooh, a little bit kitty litter kicked up there. Yeah, as well as the Frenchman leading. Just set the fastest lap too on that last lap at 44.93 as they're burning the fuel load. And in a comfortable 6.8 second lead there. And then you got a 9-second lead back down to Dennis and Alex. And this is back further from that with the hot zone where you can be throwing that blanket over. In this race is that P6 position that Tony's still just holding in with at the moment. And he's got 2 more contenders, of course, that he had to battle with Stefan. And once again, you've got to keep an eye on Rakan, because no doubt he's going to be wanting to get back up in those positions that he had earlier.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're down to 10 laps remaining of this race, so I mean, we're already 2/3 of the way through this race here. And I'm seeing a thing where it says Ian is out, but he comes back in. That is currently the driver in P10.
Yeah, that would just be
Bahad and Ion.
Blinking for for the Turkish racing driver there. That's just a little bit of blinking of a connection issue that comes out for a second, so we'll just drop him off the timing board. But thankfully, he's back into it. If you get too many connection issues, it will force you basically to the pit lane. I believe that the latest things iRacing is doing is Tony's trying to put the power down in that corner, and it has compromised him on the exit speed here. Attacking time here for the Dutch driver.
Yep, and he's up into 6th now. He's going to try to chase after Flint there. Andy Flint will have another contender, possibly in a few laps' time. Stefan is now up 8 positions from where he started. So it's a fantastic drive so far for this Dutchman.
Yeah, and Racon got past there, and that mistake that's creeped in. Another mistake, unfortunately, for Tony that's creeped in. Now Max is on the back there. So for Tony, he'll be looking at losing another place here. Don't count it out, but get on those marbles too, Max. Be careful, because you can see they went right deep into the marbles, and you see how much you just can't get on that loud pedal, because those tires will just be slipping and sliding everywhere.
Yeah, you'll basically be a cheat on an ice rink if you take too many of those marbles onto the slick tires. And speaking of the slick tires, those things are probably getting close to being burnt out by this stage. So we'll just have to see, because tire management is going to be a thing here. Overtakes are way easier if you have better tire life compared to the car ahead of you. And I think we've seen that with a few of these cars here, but drivers are just going to have to be sure and be careful not to slide the car around. You're in a Super Formula, not a Super Formula drift car. So you really want to keep that thing planted and smooth as humanly possible.
You want to do a smooth operator, and absolutely smooth ones. And the more gingerly you are on your tyres, well, the better you are. Can't do tyres. Yeah, take him out for a nice dinner, buy him some flowers. And then the tyre should be kind to you a little bit later on to the race, of course. Especially at the deeper end of the race right now, when you're either attacking or defending too. That's where it's going to come into play. And perhaps that's something that maybe Tony Jimenez has done earlier, is just taken too much out of those tyres and is just struggling with grip. But still, inside that top 10 is a more crucial points than he needs to maintain his lead in the championship.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, these drivers got to keep their cars within good balance. Balance equals traction. Traction equals speed. So, I mean, these drivers have got to keep their cars perfectly balanced, perfectly on the edge, but not going over the edge, because then that's when we start seeing slides. It's when we start seeing spins. It's when we start seeing mistakes. And if you're the case of Tony Jimenez, that's when you start seeing a ton of position loss. He is down 5 positions from where he started. So the Spaniard not having the greatest of time here. And what happened here to the Welshman?
Yeah, the Tron car of Eddie Amos. We haven't seen too much of him in this race, but he's just gone too deep into the corner there and has had to actually manages to get it around. Just drops a place there, or 2 places, but still pointing in the right direction. No damage. And greetings program. Eddie Amos. You're probably too young to know about the old Tron movie back in the day.
I mean, I've heard about it, and I've seen the more modern, like 2011-ish remake, but I bet they're making another one, I think. Ooh, a little bit of contact, a little bit of a touch and go there. Tag, you're it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to try to go ahead and change that position now. So Max Invictus trying to make a move. That would be put him up into P8 ahead of the Spaniard. The American driver is going to try to send it deep up the inside. Oh, does he get it, though? Once again, Tony Jimenez is just losing positions into turn 1. Drivers are just able to outbrake the Spaniard. And overall, excuse me, but yeah, overall, this has just not been his race. He just continues to lose positions in that corner.
And Rancon got the job done there too on Stefan, so he's made his way back up to the exact same position where he started this race in P6. So good recovery drive for the Frenchman as that battle still continues. In fact, now you've got Abajan Ayan actually now on the back there. Tony could be looking at dropping another place. He's already down 6 in this race. He's struggling, and he needs those 8 remaining laps to click over quickly so he can try to maintain himself inside the top 10.
Yeah, the Turkish driver is doing a good job. It's been a pretty quiet race here for the Turkish driver, the number 89 Turkish iRacing Formula team car. He's caught up to the back of the current championship leader of Tony Jimenez. We'll see if he can make a move, though. I mean, it's almost worth putting out a prediction asking if this move is going to be made into turn 1 again, because that has definitely been Tony's kryptonite throughout the entirety of this Grand Prix. He's just not been able to really hold on to any positions. I mean, there's a lot of other corners, like the corner we just went through, which is turn 14 and 15, that he was able to defend in really nicely. But, I mean, when it comes to turn 1, that is just not a corner he's been able to capitalize on, but everybody else has.
Well, he's going to have to go defensive into turn 1 now, too. As he will. And that was a good entry and good exit from Tony, so he's starting to mastermind it now. 24 laps later, starting to get a hang of it. Andy Flint did get past for a second there, so the American driver was battling it out there with Alexis, I think, Declare. So that's another one to keep an eye out, and that would be for the 4th place currently in this race.
Yeah, I mean, the top 3 really have just run away with this one, haven't they? I mean, the 2 Frenchmen up ahead, and then the Polish driver currently in 2nd place. Andy, though, trying to go ahead and get that P4 position. Andy is indeed coming. He's coming after that 4th place position from Alexis Declare. He is going to try to make magic happen, but there's better overtaking opportunities. He's going to try to close the gap and try to make the move. He needs to be in that slipstream. I think he got into the slipstream a bit too late there, because I think otherwise he might have been able to make that move going into the corner. But like I said earlier, there's way better places to try to make that overtake happen.
Yeah, especially down the turn 1 classic overtake. If you get a good exit out of the final turn, you can get a nice slipstream run. But he might not be waiting around. No, he's throwing a dummy at the moment, so he wants to fill the Frenchman's mirrors full of USA flags and just trying to force him into a mistake. And that's probably a wise move that some of these drivers do as well too, because surely if you're pointing forward there, as Alexis should be looking forward going, there's no way you're going to get past me on that place. But maybe here, if Andy Flint could be last of late breakers.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to see. He's trying to get up into the mirrors of Alexis Declare there, like you said, and just calmly ask the question of what on earth is a kilometer, as he is trying to chase him down for that 4th place position there, as we go on board with the Frenchman now. Taking a look through the TV, that's not quite a TV, that is the rear wing. I know it looks like a TV from some angles, but that is the rear wing of the Super Formula Lights machine created by Dallara. As we see Andy filling up a good chunk of that screen in that number 13 car. So he's going to close that gap. Is he going to shake for a move? Maybe he's going to try to hook it around the outside, but that is not the correct move. He will still sit in 5th place at the moment, but he's thinking about maybe another move. No, he decides to wait. There's a better opportunity. He just needs to focus on closing this gap. Is he going to send one around the inside? Yes, he is. Late on the brakes, and boom.
Job done.
He licked a step and sent it. Beautifully done there on the American driver.
Yep. Go USA. I'd imagine he'll be screaming out there, as well as the audience members. Tony is still battling, but he had Max is still battling it out here with the Turkish driver too. They were going for it too for now just a little bit earlier, but they're both up 4 positions between each other. I don't think Alexis wants Andy to maintain the spot too. He's going to try to fight back on that one, and that big battle for P4. Battle for P6 brewing, of course, a little bit further down. You have the battle for P9. You also have a little battle brewing for 14th and 15th as we get in the dying stages of this race. 5 to go. Oh,
who was off there? Someone was off in the background.
Robert Ridgway, I think, might have just been getting out of the way. Being a...
Yeah, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. Back marker there.
Like you said, I mean...
It's a spin!
Oh!
From Andy!
Yep, there it is, and that's Andy!
Move.
Oh, that's a very unsafe rejoin!
Yeah. Now, he was on the anchors there. He should have just left it there. He's lost his front nose. I'm not sure if anybody else copped any damage out of that one, but that's a little unfortunate. I think it was Runcorn, actually, that might have clipped him. But, yeah, a little no-no there, my friend. You've just got to be predictable. So, yeah, unfortunately, I have hit the chicane there. It's just lifted the car off there. And at that point, you stay on the anchors. But you move forward.
Oh, that was Stefan. I think it was Stefan that got hit there.
I think you're right on that one. Go have a look here. Oh no, Stefan's gone off the track by himself separately. Just off into the kitty litter. But
yeah, it must have been a
Rock on.
different car then with a similar scheme.
So you'll see the incident up the road here. So there's Andy going for a spin there. And of course, so Racon's just had to react, and he did, but that's when he got clipped.
Oh, he got
And
clipped
he went
ever so
around.
slightly.
Yeah. So he will not, the French driver would not be happy with that one. Andy Flint, my friend, you should know, well, he's got the front wing damage. He's got to try to bring this one home now, but can he? Brad's further down the road here now. Should hunt him down pretty quickly. You kind of got to gamble. Do you drop basically about 10 or so places going in the pit road to get it fixed, or can you try to drive it off for another 4 more laps?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It really depends on how much time you're going to lose and how difficult these machines are to
He's
drive
boxing.
without their front wing. I mean, they're obviously
Yeah.
going to be... yep, he's in the pits. I mean, he might have even got a penalty from that, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, even if it didn't happen on track, it will be... Oh! Who spun around there?
I'm just trying to see, actually. It might have been Oscar.
Yeah, it looks like it is Oscar.
Yeah, actually, here it is. It's happened before here. That's going to be a turn 1. I'd say he's hit the anchors here, and the car's just disagreed. It might have been a little bit of a puff of smoke there too from a lockup, wasn't it? Yep, going around.
And they did a bit of a donut, a little bit of half donut there, half a
Now
bagel.
he's just waiting because there's some more cars coming patiently. There you go. That is a safe way to re-enter, and plus he's completely off the racing line at that point too, so he flipped it around and got in the right racing line. Back into that one as Racon fighting his way back up through. He didn't want to be here before, but he did get damaged. Has he got any serious damage on that car that he can try to
I don't
shake
see-
off the Dutch driver too? Is they going to be battling tooth and nail here?
Yeah, Stefan is going to go and try to send one up the inside. Does he have it? Not quite. Nope, not quite. Even though,
Oh!
it's a spin! It's a big spin, and that's a massive collision. That race is done for
Ouch.
Stefan there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that.
We're not driving any Polaris slingshots, so these racing cars should have 4 tires instead of 3. Yeah, just gotta see what happened here. So, he's got the car behind. Does he make contact? I don't
No,
think so. I think he
I
just
don't
lost
think
on
so.
his own. You see a lot of marbles going onto the track there. Spit up from the car up ahead. Got
I
onto
reckon
the
it's-
curb.
Yeah, it's got a good exit. No, there could be contact here. Just wheel on wheel. Just a tiny bit of wheel. No, he's lifted off here. And yeah, there it is.
Nope, he just lost it.
Bang. Oof, that's a hard impact.
We've seen a lot of that tonight. Just a lot of drivers just like taking a little too much curb or touching grass and just getting lost into the wall there. So once again, that does promote a few drivers up some positions, as unfortunate as it is for the Dutchman. Some of these other drivers will benefit from that, as we're on board with the number 47 BWRT car of Patrick Williams. He is trying to chase down Andre Wazowski up ahead, the Brazilian driver in the number 23 car, trying to hold him off, trying to keep that last top 10 position alive. But Patrick is not going to make things easy for him. Patrick Williams is going to try to close that gap, but he did lose about a 1/10 of a second on that last corner. But it's still 3 laps to go. It's still all to play for here, even though we are in the closing stages of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly. And Andrew's wanting to maintain the biggest gain here as well, too, in the field there. Well, at least in the top 10, because he's up 10 places. So started in P20, he's up in the 10. That's a good drive there, of course. You take the opportunity when some of those drivers crash out. Oh, no, Andrew. I'm going to start pointing the camera away from some of these drivers now, because just as we start talking about how fantastic Last Lassing his way through the field, he will drop the P12, P13 now. That's John McKenzie going around him now for the Scotsman. Got to get back into that groove, get all that kitty lid off your tyres and just reclaim yourself there. Andre, you're still up 7, mate. You're still looking positive.
Yeah, I mean, this hasn't been a bad drive for Andre in the slightest. He just has to take a deep breath and just kind of lock back in and say, okay, you know what, that was a mistake. Let me try to catch back up. But there's so much gravel on that track on the Hyundai N curve. We'll see. Yeah, I think he just kind of lost it on his own. Oh, that was a very early. He lost it on quarter entry.
Yeah, it could have been some of that gravel out there as well, too. You don't actually see it, but there's a possibility because a lot of that's been kicked up. Here's one man that we haven't been seeing too much of, and he's probably happy about that because he's only got a couple of laps to go there and see that checkered flag before everybody else. 11-second gap. He checked out. He checked out after that.
Yeah,
first
I mean,
So that little incident at the start of the race that we had, of course, with Jesper, who set the car on pole, but after that collision, he's just been gone after that.
He's so far ahead, he's already at the next race. He's just at the starting grid for the next race to kick off next week. That's how far this Frenchman is. I mean, a very fantastic drive from him. And also, I mean, it's a fantastic drive as well for Jacob Ozeski because, I mean, he has done fantastic. He's up 2 positions from his starting point, and he's been, I mean, these top 3 have been pretty comfortable in their positions ever since we started today's race. So, I mean, ever since the early lap 1 incident, I mean, these drivers have just pretty much just kind of stayed in their lane, didn't get caught up in any of the drama, and just kept racing as the white flag is out for the man currently on your screen. He is in the lead, got a 12-second buffer of Thomas Reagan here.
Yeah, he can be smooth sailing on this one. His last lap was a 45. He has set the fastest lap, I believe, on a 44. In fact, he's the only man in this race that's entered the 44 club. So that's just going to show you how much pace that he had. He probably still had more pace up his sleeve, but probably didn't want to risk it for the biscuit too much. And not to mention, he has to slice and dice his way through a bit of traffic as well. But this is the only lap he needs to worry about right now. Barney's going to be waiting with that checker flag for him. As long as he does not make any mistakes, smooth sailing, that is job done. And a nice race win victory here for the Frenchman.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very well-deserved drive. He was basically flawless from the opening stages of this race. He is dialed in to another level at the moment. They may want to check his car to see if he's got nitrous installed or something, because he has just been flying through this race as he was part of the French Airlines. We'll see. He's only got about 2 more corners left to navigate. He made it through the chicane. Now it's time for the Hyundai N curve. And he's on the home stretch now, taking victory here in Germany. Thomas Reagan wins here in the NurburgRing, and it is a dominant victory from the Frenchman.
Yeah, see that. We still have to wait a couple more corners there from Jacob Olaski, who's going to get some solid points run there. 2 positions gained up there for the 57. Then you go down to Dan. He was in a lot of those battles, wasn't he, with his teammates. And once he got that clear air and he got in rhythm with the car, he got that up into P3 there with the other Frenchman of Alex there. Tony still manages to come home in P5, actually a bit of an off. He dropped back to as far as, what, P7 or something like that. And Ewan there and Maxi up 8 places there too. And Runcorn will bring it home there, maybe with some damage there. Brad, we saw come off the track a couple of times, P9, and around at your P10. You'll have another man from your neck of the woods there with Patrick Williams in P10.
That was a very fantastic race from all these drivers. Some better than others, but I mean, those top 3 really just walked away with it ever since lap 2 or 3. They just walked away with this one and just kind of stormed off to victory here. I mean, a very dominant podium, but some very good drives from a lot of these other drivers. The man on your screen, I mean, this is going to do wonders for his championship effort, but Jimenez really just did not have a solid race here. I mean, consistency is what's going to win you the championship, and that is not the kind of race you want to have.
No, but if it's one race that you want to, tick that off at the back, we're just going to have a quick geezer at the start of the race before we show you those race results, just to see the shenanigans that kind of happened earlier on. Now there was a little bit of an overtaking between these 2 drivers. Remember, there's not supposed to be any overtaking, but then again, there was already argy-bargy that occurred there. So Thomas had to yield this position back because, once again, there it easily lifted. There was no overtaking, remember, until further up. But then they get into each other a little bit later on here. I'm just trying to see specifically where it was. It was definitely on lap 1, wasn't it, my friend?
Mm-hmm.
I might just speed it up a little bit, just because we want to kind of see what happened.
Might have been lap 2 or 3, but yeah, it was pretty early on in this race, and then the top 3 really just checked out and just headed off to France already.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if we can find any quickly, but yeah, it wasn't too far around here soon. As you can see, they start pushing each other. But I think it's getting close. There it is. I think there was some contact there, wasn't there? But there's still more to come. We don't usually do this, but I'm just curious because that was, remember, an important part of this race earlier on, because that was our pole sitter, Jesper, that they had a collision. I think it's here.
And I think he just lost on it. Oh, that's a brake lock up there. He locked the front right there. So, and
then
then
come together a little bit later on as well. And that's when the rain started coming down. Yeah, at this point. And there's the contact. That's what I was waiting for.
There it is.
And he did fight his way back up to the field, didn't he, there, Jasper? But then he got into another unfortunate incident. And that time on his own, it was a lock-up, wasn't it? It's turn one, and that was all he elected at that point to retire the car. Here's the race results.
All right. So your race results are in, and I'll let you take it away.
Oh, you're fine. You got it, my friend. Welcome, of course, to the league.
All right. And then we have Thomas Regan taking victory here by a whopping 12 seconds. And then we have Jacob Ozeski, Dennis Cornu, Alexis Leclerc, Tony Jimenez, Bahadin Ayan, Max Invictus, and then Lukotic Rakan. And then further on down, we have Brad Folgar, Patrick Williams, Mehmet Amra Taski, Andre Wazowski, John McKenzie, Adam Tomza. And then just taking a bit further down, there we go. We have Eddie Amos, Adria Pascari, Andy Flint, Paul Distelli, Scott Taylor, Allard Vandi, Oscar Antonano, Patrick Rowlands, Robert Ridgway, Koji Ito, Stefan Doderer, who had a very unfortunate DNF towards the very end of the race. And I believe that is... I think that's of them. There's a few more names hiding from me. And then we had Leonardo Sherry, Jesper Sandstrom, and Oscar Belcati rounding out our grid. Unfortunate race for some, but very fortunate for others.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those drivers that took that gamble on those wet weather tyres, and they didn't quite pay off because it just did not rain long enough, did it, for the drivers to really make any gain on those tyres. But well done, of course, to the top three. And we are heading off, once again, that we showed you on that calendar, to France. Now, you think about this France. We had France 1 and 3 here on this one. How are they going to go at their home track on May the 18th?
They're obviously going to want to try to maximize the result. They're going to try to lock out every single time spot. But, I mean, that's way easier said than done, especially with how competitive this field was tonight. I don't think we're going to see dominance next week like we did this one, but you never know, because that's the thing about racing. It is very unpredictable.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Give us a like and subscribe and support this fantastic league and, of course, on this fantastic network. It's been a pleasure in the booth with you, my friend, and I'm looking forward to working with you again soon. So, any final words?
I just want to go ahead and thank everybody for tuning in and enjoying the racing here. I'm going to go ahead and echo your sentiment of be sure to drop a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of the intense racing action here. I mean, especially after today's race, you definitely don't want to miss any of the other iGPFun races that we have here. We'll be back next week at Maggie Course, and it was also a pleasure. Had a lot of fun here tonight, and hopefully I'll be back for more.